Dear esteemed students, my name is Dr. Morilat Afolabi from Faculty of Education, Science Education Department. The topic for today is methods and resources for teaching integrated science from your interesting course, EDU754 Integrated Science Methods. Let's begin. You are welcome to this lesson. Integrated science is an approach of investigating nature in one's environment, which involves extending the laboratory and classroom to the use of locally and easily available materials from the environment. And what are these locally materials? They are called material resources. And these material resources in the teaching of integrated science is just an emphasis on environmental resources, which is clearly illustrated by one of the objectives of basic science and technology, which is to tackle some questions that arise from observations of their own environment and it affects their daily life, from the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology in 1985. Now, at the end of this lesson, you should be able to discuss and outline different types of resources for teaching basic science and technology, explain the importance of environment as resource material for teaching basic science and technology, explain the concept of improvisation, develop basic science and technology scheme of work from the curriculum document, prepare lesson plan of one of the topics in the subject, then prepare format for basic science and technology lesson. What are these resource materials? Resource materials are those materials that are human and non-human that facilitate learners' learning process. They are medium through which the teacher concretizes ideas to the learner. There are three categories of resource materials. They are human resources, material resources, and financial resources. Human resources are examples of the teachers, the pupils, the experts, personnel, and even local craftsmen who may be brought to give the learner first-hand information and experiences in certain scientific skills and knowledge. And they are, like I said, they are people that will help students to understand the concept, ideas, and knowledge presented to them. The experts are brought to the class to give the first-hand information and experience to the students. We also have material resources. Material resources are materials found in nature that can be used for practical. Such resources are wood, we have metals, rocks, chemicals, paper, those things around you. They are material found in nature that can be used to teach our students. We also have financial resources. The financial resources, they are the funds from the Federal Ministry and the State Ministry of Education. They are also funds from stakeholders of education. This is the aspect that we support the last two. That is, this aspect supports human and material resources. When you know we are talking about the resources, material resources that is required to teach our students, it's not every material that can be available to you in the classroom. And as a teacher, you are expected to think of what to do. There's a process called improvisation. That is, if those materials are not available to you, what can you do as a teacher? Improvisation. The national policy on education emphasize much on improvisation for the teaching of basic science and technology because most of these materials will be found in your environment. Improvisation is just an act of the teacher to provide alternative to facilitate teaching when the original materials are not there, or even when the materials are there, maybe they are not enough. So that is improvisation. The teacher will now provide alternative to teach the student. For it to be successful, fund must be made available for the purchase of the basic tools and local materials. And improvisation makes things better. That is, it makes the teaching of the concepts better. Now you have known about what to do about material resources. We have human resources, we have material resources, financial resources, and you can even improvise some of these resources. Now you need to plan for the teaching. You plan for the teaching of basic science and technology. When you are planning, as a teacher, you will be given the curriculum document for that particular class. The curriculum is just the totality of the experience a student is supposed to acquire in an institution. When you are given this curriculum of basic science and technology, as a teacher, it is your responsibility to look at the philosophy and objectives of this curriculum. When you are able to look at that, you outline the topics, each topic according to how it is written in the curriculum. You now break down this topic into syllabus. You break down the topic into syllabus. Then you break the syllabus into the scheme of work, because the curriculum is given to you, the document when given to you is just the total experience that you want the student to have in an institution, and this one is developed by the curriculum planner. But as a teacher, you break it down into syllabus, which is a yearly activity. Then you break the syllabus down into the scheme of work, which is termly activity. Then your lesson note should be, or lesson plan is going to be, a daily activity, and it is your responsibility to break it down. The syllabus is a condensed outline of the main topics of the school system. It is developed by you as a teacher on the level of the learner, and it is an outline of the work with each class at school level in basic science and technology. It is arranged in a logical, spirally sequence for the period of 9 years of basic science and technology education. It is generally done by the teacher. The scheme of work is now a weekly arrangement of the topics from the syllabus to be covered during the academic year. It is generally done by the teacher. This is achieved by dividing the syllabus into 3 parts corresponding to 3 terms in an academic year. The topic in each term schedule are broken up into several weeks in a term, and it is planned. It is a written plan showing what basic science and technology topics are to be covered weekly. Now, what are the factors you are supposed to be considered when you are drawing up your syllabus or the scheme of work? You need the needs for the syllabus to be logically sequenced. You will now check the age, the ability, and the previous knowledge of your student. That is, when you are arranging your scheme of work, you need to arrange them in such a way that in terms of the age of the student, the ability of the student, even what they have known before will come first in your arrangement, because that will be logically arranged. And the amount of time required for each topic will be considered. The number of effective teaching weeks in the term will be considered. The number of teaching per week will be considered. Resources that you are going to use to teach will also be considered. Now, when you finish arranging your scheme of work, now you have them on weekly basis, and they have been sequentially arranged and logically arranged. Now you bring out your lesson plan. You plan your lesson. Lesson plan is a daily guide to the basic science and technology teacher. It is a guide to the teacher in presenting a good and effective basic science technology lesson in the class. Lesson plan is said to be a guide for effective teaching as it directs the teacher. It directs you on what to do and how to do it. It is the daily outline of learning activities for basic science technology students, usually drawn up after the preceding lesson. Now, lesson plans are not prepared for a long time due to the new innovations. If you have to prepare your lesson plan, you just prepare it for that particular week or for that particular topic, so that when there's need for you to get new things done, you'll be able to include it in your lesson plan. There are also formats for this lesson plan. The format includes the name, the subject, the class, the date, the unit topic, average age of the students, the time you are going to use, the objective you want to achieve, then the introduction of the lesson, the learning activities, evaluation, and summary. That is what is expected of you in a lesson plan. When you have done that, now what you need to know again is lesson notes, because the lesson plan is just to tell you what you are going to do for that day. But the lesson note is going to be more comprehensive and more detailed. Detailed in the sense that if you are not in the class, another teacher can be able to use your lesson notes to teach your class. It is not you cannot scribble anything and say you will leave the class without being attended to. When you make your plan and you have written your lesson note from it, which is the detailed activities of your lesson plan, is what we call lesson note. You use it and another child will be able to use it. Lesson note is a detailed description of all learning activities by both the teacher and the student, selected for a particular lesson, showing how the lesson will be produced, showing previous knowledge of the learner, description of the different methods to be used, as well as questions to be asked will be included. The form of the lesson note depends on the subject, category of the learner, and the available resources. It also has its own format, and the format includes the school, the date, subject, class, time, unit, topic, objectives. Let me remind you here that the objectives should be stated in a behavioral manner, that is using action verbs. When you are stating your objectives, you are expected to state them in a way that it will show actions that you want the student to perform. That is why we say it has to be behaviorally stated, and you are going to use action verbs like to describe, to discuss, to explain, to write, to draw, to sketch, and the rest of them like that. Then after the objectives, you are going to write another part of the format is the previous knowledge. That is what the student have known before the lesson you want to teach. Then the presentation of the lesson. In this case, it is different from the lesson plan because you are going to present your lesson note in such a way that the steps you are going to take is going to be written there. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Whatever you want to teach, you give them in steps. And it has to be written from simple thing to complex, from what they have known to what they don't know. Then you write the summary, the evaluation, and assignment. Now, we have talked about lesson notes and lesson plan. Some students or teachers, they don't even know the difference between lesson notes and lesson plan. And they are different. The lesson note is more detailed than lesson plan. Like I told you, Integrated science lesson plan is easier to write and short to be read quickly, but lesson notes indicates clearly the content and the method of the lesson and aids the teacher memory. Lesson plan is an outline of the teacher's business, and lesson notes give full account of step by step of the instruction. And that is why it is going to be easy for any teacher that is coming after you when you are not there to teach your class to be able to use your lesson note, because it is detailed. Whatever you want to tell the students are there. The methods you are going to use are there. The activities are there. The assignments are there. The summary is there for for another teacher to be able to take up your class. Now, with this, we have come to the end of this lesson. We have discussed the major resources used in the teaching and learning processes of basic science and technology programs. The role of improvisation was made very clear. Human resources are vital to the implementation of integrated science programs. The meaning of the concept syllabus and from where it is developed was also discussed. The description of scheme of work and how it is developed was discussed. The differences between lesson plan and lesson notes was also discussed. For your assignment, I would like you to develop a lesson note you will use to teach any topic of your choice in basic science and technology. And also, from your community, invite experts in any desired area of science to talk to you and your students on scientific issues of the term, such terms like HIV/AIDS, drug abuse, and the rest. Thank you for your attention. Until next time when we bring to you another topic, is bye bye.